We actually almost sent this bench back because there were some challenges, but I'm going to show you the full assembly of this bench so we can show you exactly what those challenges were, and you can make the decision on your own if you're on the fence about this bench. I will say that you need to be somewhat kind of handy putting this together, and it would help if you have two people to do it. First thing you're going to want to do is just lay out all your pieces so it's easily accessible. These are the instructions. There's no names to the pieces, so I'm going to kind of make up my own names as we go. And here are the pictures. Think of it kind of like putting together a Lego set, and it tells you what pictures, and each one is labeled. Now, the first challenge was, this is the bottom board, and there's some scuffing on there, and this is the top, and there are lines, kind of these small little indented lines, and there is a little bowing on this piece. But we're going to see if that actually affects the piece by the end. So the first thing you're going to do is take the one side panel in the image, and you're going to go ahead and drill in the metal bar. Now again, each piece is labeled with some letters, so it's going to make way more sense once you see the instructions as you go. So this piece with the metal bar that matches it in the picture, you're going to go ahead and drill in the screws to that as well. You'll want to take note of this back piece, the direction that it's facing when you put this on, and it is much easier if you have two people to assemble this part because it is a little wobbly without that second pair of hands, and you're going to snap each section of it into place. Now here is where we had a little issue because we were having trouble snapping it in because this little tab, as you're going to see here, cannot go through because somewhere in the manufacturing process it must not have completely cut out that hole. So you're really going to need a razor blade when you are going through this, or an X-Acto knife, something that can kind of take that little part out and cut it out just to be able to work that piece in so it can snap completely in. This is not a difficult task. It's not a deal breaker at this point, but it is something that you should be aware of. And the center pieces that you're going to see right here, you are going to need to kind of push in. So if you kind of push your finger in that hole, it should snap together pretty easily, just like that. Next, you're going to take one of the bench sides, and you're going to have these end caps that are going to go on the bottom of them. So you're going to need to put in each end cap on each one of the sides. There's two on each side of the bench. And it does help if you've kind of just hit this into place to really get it worked in there and secure. So once you've done that to both side panels of the bench where you've put the end caps in, you're going to have these smaller little end caps that are going to go on the other side, and you will need to put those in as well. That is very easy. They snap really easily into place, which you're going to see right here. After all of those have been snapped into place, you're going to take the back piece that you've already put together, where you can see the back that you lean against, and that is going to kind of go into the sides of one of the side parts of the bench, as you can see here. You're going to need to snap that together, just as you see my husband doing here. And the next thing we'll do is put in that bottom board, which is the scuffed board I showed you in the beginning. Now, once you have put on the other side of that bench, this is where we're going to kind of jimmy that board in from the top. So it helps again to have a second person for this part because it does kind of want to wiggle all around. So I attempted to help my husband as I'm filming this. It was a bit challenging, but he did end up getting it in. Now this again is the piece that was scuffed, so it's not something that shows at all. So again, another challenge that is not a deal breaker. The next thing we're going to do is take the other side piece to the bench and put that on top, kind of line it up where it needs to go, and then you are going to push and snap that into place as well. And of course, you can use your hand as a hammer to really make sure that you have it in place. Then you'll go ahead and turn the bench the right side up. Now I'm going to show you where there's another spot where there's a little bit of warping. So right here in this area, you can see that tiny little bit of warp, but it doesn't affect anything, and it's going to be under the lid. So here's another manufacturing error where there's a little thin piece of plastic on these parts where you're going to put these little caps on, but it doesn't affect the caps going in, so you should be fine putting it in, but you can use your razor blade to get that out if you need to. Once you put the metal piece in the backrest, you're going to go ahead and put that front facing kind of plate over top of it, and you're going to click that in as well. So you'll need to do that here and really kind of squeeze it so it gets that click. So you can see at the top it's not completely clicked in yet, so it's easy to just kind of go along the top to click that into place. And to further secure it, you're going to take the screws that are provided and you'll go ahead and screw that into the back of that area as well. So there's 3 areas that you'll need to do this for, as you see my husband doing here. Now the next thing I'm about to show you is our next challenge, because these holes on the underside of the bench, many of them were not completely drilled through. You can see that hole is drilled through, but there's a space there that there is no hole, and then as you go down, you can see the spaces where holes should have been and were not drilled through. This is actually a really easy fix. You're just going to need a drill, and you'll just drill through that little piece of plastic there so that you're able to get the screws in there, but it is something you should be aware of. It's, again, not a deal breaker. It's something that if you're a little bit handy, you can easily go ahead and fix. Once you have put all the screws in those holes you've just made, you're going to then turn the bench right side up again. And now we're going to do the bracket. So this bracket is actually, if you want to add a lock to the front of your bench, this is how you would do it. Once you put the bracket in place, you'll put the screws in, drill the screws in, and that is on the underside of the lid. Now there are end caps to the lid as well. You're going to go ahead and pop those in. This is really easy to do. And once you've put all those end caps in, you're going to go ahead and put the lid on, and you're going to snap this into place, which you're going to see here in just a second as soon as we finish putting these end caps on. So you'll put the lid kind of upright a little bit. You'll see here, and then you're going to kind of push down in those spots to snap the ends into place. You can see it'll move very easily now. Here's where the bottom part of the bracket goes. Now, if you want this to use for a lock, then it'll be perfect for you, but we really don't want that sticking out and hitting our legs, so we removed it. Now, you're going to see here's some more spots with some little pieces of plastic, but you can just shave that off with a razor. And now I'm looking for the indents. So you see the slight indenting on the top of the lid, but when it's all put together, you really don't see it at all. And it looks fantastic. So we really, really do like this bench. I'm glad we didn't return it, but you should be aware of the challenges that there were and just how easy those challenges are to fix. So if you are looking for a great bench, the Keter Solana is really a fantastic bench, and it has so much storage room.